Good afternoon. This is a weird piece of news. Let's go through it first and then explain why it's so unusual. Huang Yiping works for China's central bank, the People's Bank of China. He gave a policy speech in which he urged, that China can assist its green energy manufacturing sector while also deepening China's relationship with the developing world and also broaden the use of the Chinese currency, the RMB. Here's the key paragraph. Help developing countries transition, at the same time deal with China's high levels of production, internationalizing the financial sector, and build a program similar to our Marshall Plan. There it is. He mentions that in Europe and in North America, we have closed off our energy markets to China's solar and wind and clean energy products. So he says they need to look somewhere else for markets. Developing countries need $1.7 trillion a year, and they're getting less than a third of that. Beijing can step in and provide them either with loans or with direct funding. And this will result in China's companies expanding quickly into new overseas markets, and it will help China internationalize the RMB. Now, here is what is so unusual about this proposal. First of all, this is not a proposal. This is going to be the policy. This is how things work here in China. If an important official gives a speech like this at an important conference like this, it means they've already been working on it for months. And in a few months from now, they're going to have offices set up across the developing world, and they'll be building power plants there. Here is what's unusual. Where I come from, this is a speech that would be given by the president of the American Solar Power Manufacturers Association, or by the European Clean Energy Trade Commission, or something. It still might be a good idea, but it would be seen as self-promotional, very self-interested. They would be hoping that an important policymaker would hear it and set up a program to buy US solar panels or European and ship them to the developing world. So why does an official at China's central bank consider this part of his mandate? First, think about what people working at the Federal Reserve in the United States or at the European Central Bank or the Bank of Japan have to do. Their job is to manage the banking systems. They need to ensure that the biggest banks in our system are solvent and they have sufficient liquidity across the whole system to make the economy go. They have to get inflation down. Inflation is just killing consumers in North America and in Europe, which means they have to remove liquidity, take dollars and euro out of the system, but without creating unemployment or asset crashes. That's not going to be easy, and it's not going to happen soon. They also have to help our governments absorb astronomical levels of deficit spending, new sovereign bond issuance, while also getting inflation down, again, which is almost impossible. And on top of it all, they need to find liquidity in foreign exchange accounts to replace what we have outbound to China every day. In the United States, our trade deficits with China last year were $823 billion. That's over $2 billion a day. Europe's was 291 billion euro, over 300 billion USD, 800 million euro per day. Japan was 9 trillion yen, call it $60 billion. That's $160 million a day. Between just we three, the US, Europe, and Japan, China's central bankers wake up every morning and another $3 billion just came in overnight. As central banking jobs go, Mr. Wang probably has the easiest one in the whole world. He and his friends go out to lunch, and when they come back to the office, another $200 million just rolled in. Their central bank doesn't have an inflation problem. In China, the prices are falling. The People's Bank of China doesn't have to worry about liquidity. Foreign exchange reserves are being poured out of banks everywhere else and gushing in here. That's the difference. All that money coming in every day, every night for the past 2 decades, and it changes the way they think about money. It changes the way they go to work every day at the central bank. They're not managing outflows. They've got to figure out what to do with all the money coming in. Huang Yiping compares this policy to our Marshall Plan, which after the Second World War really cemented the United States in our alliances with Western Europe and with Japan, and firmly established the US dollar as the reserve currency for the whole world. The United States at the time was the biggest creditor nation in world history and the factory of the world. Now China is the world's factory, China is the world's biggest creditor nation, and China's central bankers are making sure things stay that way. This place is called Fangshan Temple. It's in Guizhou. The video is not great. It doesn't do it justice, really, so I'll put in some photos too. Be good.
Others to do for you. Store up for yourself treasure in heaven. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. No man can serve two masters. You cannot serve God and money.